Shusho Sradadhanasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipraha Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. For by such service one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Maha-Bharata, first part, chapter 48. On to Kurukshetra continued. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And soon after Krishna left Hastinapur, Dhritarashtra decided to call one last council to discuss strategy. War was now unavoidable, but the blind king was anxious. Having now seen Krishna's universal form, Dhritarashtra was filled with apprehension. Surely no human could contend with such power. Perhaps there was still a possibility to make a last-minute agreement. The king looked at his counselors. O learned men, we have all heard Krishna's speech, and we have seen his superhuman power. The Lord of all the worlds will now ride into battle with the Pandavas, whom we have made our enemies. My son has insulted them. Now Krishna has left us in anger, and we now surely face the greatest danger. Tell me, what can be done to avert disaster? Bhishma shook his head. Our fate is sealed, O king. We have abused Keshava, who is worthy of even the gods' worship. There is no more fortune for us. We will have to take up arms in a contest that will divest the earth of innumerable heroes. What need is there for further discussion? It only remains for us to make arrangements for the war. Drona and Kripa agreed with Bhishma, but Duryodhana smiled. The moment he had been waiting for was near. Now there would be no more moralizing and useless talk. It should have been obvious to everyone from the start that the only way to deal with the Pandavas was on a battlefield. Now Krishna had shown his supernatural power. So what? Krishna was not even going to fight. And in any event, there were many heroes on the side of the Kauravas who were masters of mystical weapons. Duryodhana was not afraid. Vidura saw Duryodhana smirk and felt unable to constrain himself. He leaped to his feet, glaring at the prince. Vidura could not forgive Duryodhana for insulting Krishna. You must now return Yudhishthir's legitimate share of the kingdom. Yudhishthir has no enemies, and he has been more than forbearing. He is waiting with his younger brothers, among whom is the ever-revengeful Bhima, breathing like a snake. Surely you must be afraid of him. Duryodhana looked angrily at his uncle, but Vidura continued. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, has accepted Kunti's sons as his kinsmen. Krishna lives in Dwaraka with the Yadu kings and princes, who have conquered unlimited rulers, and Krishna is their Lord. Surely you fear him. Then Vidura turned to the king. O ruler of this earth, by your inaction, you are supporting offense personified, your son, your cherished son, Duryodhana. But he is envious of Krishna, and because of this, you are devoid of all auspicious qualities. Now, relieve yourself of this ill fortune as soon as possible by punishing Duryodhana, and thus do your whole family good. Otherwise, we are all doomed. Now, Duryodhana could take no more. From his childhood, he had seen his uncle Vidura favor the Pandavas. It seemed Vidura had no affection for him and his brothers. But now Vidura had gone too far. Duryodhana leaped up, his body swelling with rage and his lips trembling. Who asked him to come here, this son of a kept mistress, the son of a maidservant? That deceitful Vidura is no friend of the Kurus. He is so crooked that he works secretly in the interest of the enemy, plotting against those who have supported him. Toss him out of the palace and leave him with only his breath. Dhritarashtra was shocked at his son's sudden outburst. He raised a hand to silence Duryodhana, but Vidura only smiled and rose to his feet. And without saying anything, Vidura lifted his bow, which he had never drawn in anger, and walked towards the door. Vidura had been wondering how he would avoid having to fight against the Pandavas. Here was his opportunity. Leaning his bow against the door, signifying that he would not fight for the Kurus, Vidura walked out of the hall, heading towards the city's northern gate and the ashrams of the rishis. Vidura's mind was now fixed on holy pilgrimage. The other Kuru elders censured Duryodhana, but he merely laughed at them. Dhritarashtra then ended the assembly. It was time to prepare for war. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The following is how the same incident is depicted in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Vidura was invited by his elder brother Dhritarashtra for consultation, Vidura entered the house and gave instructions which were exactly to the point. Advice from Vidura is well known, and instructions by Vidura are approved by expert ministers of state. O king, you must now return the legitimate chair to Yudhishthira, who has no enemies, and who has been forbearing through untold sufferings due to your offenses. He is waiting with his younger brothers, among whom is the revengeful Bhima, breathing heavily like a snake. Surely you are afraid of him. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, has accepted the sons of Pritha as his kinsmen, and all the kings of the world are with Lord Sri Krishna. Krishna is present in his home, along with all of his family members, who are the kings and princes of the Yadu dynasty, and they have conquered an unlimited number of rulers, and Krishna is their Lord. But you, my dear brother, are maintaining offense personified, Duryodhana, as your infallible son. But he is envious of Lord Krishna. And because you are thus maintaining a non-devotee of Krishna, you are devoid of all auspicious qualities. Now, relieve yourself of this ill fortune as soon as possible, and do good to the whole family. And thus, while speaking, Vidura, whose personal character was esteemed by respectable persons, was insulted by Duryodhana, who was swollen with anger, and whose lips were trembling. Duryodhana was in the company with Karna, his younger brothers, as well as his maternal uncle, Shakuni. Kainam atra apajuhava jimmam, dasya sutam yat, balina eva pushtaha, tasmin pratipa parikritya aste, nirvasyatam ashu, purat shvasanaha. Who asked him to come here, this son of a kept mistress? Why, he is so crooked that he spies in the interest of the enemy against those on whose support he has grown up. Toss him out of the palace immediately, and leave him only with his breath. Thus, being pierced by arrows through his ears, and afflicted to the core of his heart, Vidura placed his bow at the door and quit his brother's palace. He was not sorry, for he considered the acts of the external energy to be supreme. And by his piety, Vidura achieved the advantages of the pious Kauravas. So after leaving Hastinapur, Vidura took shelter of many places of pilgrimage, which are the Lord's lotus feet. With a desire to gain a high order of pious life, Vidura traveled to holy places where thousands of transcendental forms of the Lord are situated. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Political suggestions by Vidura are known as expert, just as in modern times, Pandit Chanakya is considered the authority in good counsel in both political and moral instructions. Vidura had given Dhritarashtra very good counsel regarding political alliance with the sons of Pritha, the Pandavas. A good son is called a patya, one who does not allow his father to fall down. The son can protect the father's soul when the father is dead by offering sacrifices to please the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And this system is still prevalent in India. But if the son is already an enemy of Vishnu, how in such an inimical mood can he offer sacrifice unto Lord Vishnu's lotus feet? Lord Krishna is directly the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, and Duryodhana was inimical to him. Duryodhana would therefore be unable to protect his father Dhritarashtra after his death, and Duryodhana himself was to fall down because of his own faithlessness towards Vishnu. How then could Duryodhana protect his father? Vidura advised Dhritarashtra to get rid of such an unworthy son as Duryodhana as soon as possible, if he was at all anxious to see to the good of his family. According to the moral instructions of Chanakya Pandit, what is the use of a son who is neither a learned man nor a devotee of the Lord? If a son is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, then he is just like blind eyes, a source of trouble only. A physician may sometimes advise the extrication of such useless eyes from their sockets so that one can be relieved of the constant trouble. So Duryodhana was exactly like blind, troubling eyes. Duryodhana would be a source of great trouble to the family of Dhritarashtra, as was foreseen by Vidura. Vidura therefore rightly advised his eldest brother to get rid of this source of trouble. Dhritarashtra was wrongly maintaining such offense personified under the mistaken impression that Duryodhana was a good son, able to liberate his father. It is said that giving good counsel to a foolish person causes the fool to become angry, just as feeding milk to a snake only increases its venomous poison. Saint Vidura was so honorable that his character was looked up to by all respectable persons. But Duryodhana was so foolish that he dared insult Vidura. This was due to Duryodhana's bad association with Shakuni, his maternal uncle, as well as with his friend Karna, who always encouraged Duryodhana in his nefarious acts. When getting married, Kshatriya kings would take on several of their youthful girls along with the married princess. These attendant girls of the king were known as dasis, or attendant mistresses. And by intimate association with the king, these dasis would also get sons of their own. Such sons were called dasi putras. They had no claim to any royal position, but they would get maintenance and other facilities just like a regular prince. Vidura was the son of such a dasi, and he was thus not counted amongst the Kshatriyas. King Dhritarashtra was very affectionate toward his younger dasi-putra brother Vidura, and Vidura was a great friend and philosophical advisor to Dhritarashtra. Duryodhana knew very well that Vidura was a great soul and well-wisher, but unfortunately Duryodhana used strong words to hurt his innocent uncle. Duryodhana not only attacked Vidura's birth, but also called him an infidel because Vidura seemed to support the cause of Yudhishthir, whom Duryodhana considered his enemy. Duryodhana desired that Vidura be immediately put out of the palace and deprived of all of his possessions. In fact, if possible, Duryodhana would have liked Vidura caned until he was left with nothing but his breath. Duryodhana accused Vidura that he was a spy on behalf of the Pandavas because Vidura advised his brother Dhritarashtra in the Pandavas' favor. And such is the situation of palace life and the intricacies of diplomacy that even a faultless person like Vidura could be charged with something abominable and then punished. Vidura was struck with wonder at such unexpected behavior from his nephew Duryodhana, and before anything actually happened, Vidura decided to leave the palace for good. The pure devotee of the Lord is never perturbed by any awkward position created by the external energy of the Lord. According to Bhagavad Gita, the conditioned soul is absorbed in material existence under the influence of different modes of external energy. Absorbed in the false ego, the conditioned soul thinks that one is doing everything by oneself. But the external energy of the Lord, the material nature, is fully under the control of the Supreme Lord, while the conditioned soul is fully under the grip of that external energy. Therefore, the conditioned soul is fully under the control of the law of God. But due to illusion only, the conditioned soul thinks oneself independent in one's activities. Duryodhana was acting under such influence of the external nature, by which Duryodhana would be vanquished at the ultimate end. Duryodhana could not accept the sound advice of Vidura, but on the contrary, Duryodhana insulted the great soul, who was actually the well-wisher of Duryodhana's entire family. Vidura could understand this because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. In spite of being very strongly insulted by the words of Duryodhana, Vidura could see that under the influence of Maya, the external energy, Duryodhana was making progress on the path toward his own ruination. Vidura therefore considered the acts of the external energy to be supreme. And yet, he also saw how the internal energy of the Lord helped him in that particular situation. The devotee is always in a renounced temperament because the worldly attractions can never satisfy the devotee. Vidura was never attracted by the royal palace of his brother. Vidura was always ready to leave the place and devote himself completely to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And now he got the opportunity by the grace of Duryodhana, and instead of being sorry at the strong words of insult, Vidura thanked Duryodhana from within, because it gave Vidura the chance to live alone in a holy place and fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. The word gata vyathaha, without being sorry, is significant because Vidura was relieved from the tribulations which trouble every man entangled in material activities. Vidura therefore thought that there was no need to defend his brother with his bow, because his brother was meant for ruination. Thus Vidura left the palace before Duryodhana could act. So, Maya, the supreme energy of the Lord, acted here both internally and externally. Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala, Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala, Madana Gopala Mohana Rupa, Mohana Rupa Nanda Kumara, Govinda Hari, Gopala Hari, Jaya Jaya Deva Hari, Jaya Prabhu Dina Dayala Hari, Jaya Rama Hari, Jaya Krishna Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara, Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala, Madana Gopala Nanda Kumara, Madana Gopala Mohana Rupa, Mohana Rupa Madana Gopala, Mohana Rupa Nanda Kumara, Nanda Kumara Mohana Rupa, Govinda Hari, Gopala Hari, Gopala Hari, Govinda Hari, Jaya Jaya Deva Hari, Jaya Prabhu Dina Dayala Hari, Jaya Rama Hari, Jaya Krishna Hari, Jaya Krishna Hari, Jaya Rama Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Govinda Hari, Gopala Hari, Gopala Hari, Govinda Hari, Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara.